How you going, people? I had to go check my my thing because I forgot what my other cop story was going to be. So this is a case that's happened before with other agencies, and one particular agency that was a pretty big deal, and they sent out memos to all cops up and down the state of California when this happened, was LAPD and the Sheriff's Department. In most all jurisdictions, the Sheriff Department thinks they're better, and the PD thinks they're better. And I've talked about this with SAC PD. SAC Sheriff is 100 times better than SAC PD. They're just two different agencies, even though they work in the same jurisdiction. And, you know, so there's good and bad. But most sheriff's departments are better than the police department because the political aspect is out. The sheriff's elected, the police department chief is appointed. So that's how you get a little less quality control. But down in LA County, you have LA Sheriff and LAPD. And both LA Sheriff and LAPD, I think, have close to 6,000 or 7,000 officers. So those are two large forces that cover a large area, and they're constantly coming over to people. You're going in and out of your jurisdiction into the county's going into the city, and all peace officers have jurisdiction through the whole state, so you're going to have some conflicts. So what happened in LAPD, and I'm thinking it's back in maybe 88, 89 area. LA County Sheriff Drug Task Force pulled over a bunch of gangbangers in the middle of the street, had them proned out, and had them laid out. And they were not in uniform, but they were undercover detectives. Well, I don't know if I said PD or sheriff. I think the sheriff is the one that stopped them, but they were in PD jurisdiction because they were in the city. And they followed these guys, they had them out, they were going to arrest them. Well, LAPD shows up, and LAPD is a different breed. They kind of think, the whole world revolves around them. They're the only agency. They're perfect. They're the best. They're this, they're that. So they show up in their jurisdiction, and who are these guys not in uniform with guys proned out? So the uniforms get out. Now, the rule of thumb for law enforcement is when a uniform shows up, they're in charge of the scene until it's established who's who. So all undercover cops are known. When the uniform shows up, you kind of defer that they're in charge of the investigation until you identify yourself, let them know who you are, and that it's your jurisdiction. And then once they verify that, it's yours. But if they show up to an unknown scene, it's like if I'm undercover and there's a robbery or 211 going on, and I end up tackling the guy and I got him at gunpoint and I'm holding him down, and a uniform comes in and goes, drop the gun, blah, blah, he's in charge of that scene until he verifies that I'm a cop and that's a lawful arrest. Well, cops, and especially me, I ain't dropping my gun on the ground, especially if it's one of my personal guns, especially if it's one of my good personal guns. I ain't dropping it. I'll put it in my pocket, I'll put it in my waistband, I'll put it back in a holster, but I ain't dropping it on the ground. Maybe I'll lay it down, but even that, I'm kind of like, dude, cop needs to use some judgment out there. And there's plenty of ways to tell when somebody's a cop and when they're not. By the way they talk, by the way they carry themselves, what they're telling you, how they're speaking, how they're dressed, where their holster is, do they have a badge, etc. Now, can't somebody have a fake badge? Yeah. Are there people out there impersonating cops? Yeah, but the people that are doing it, you can spot them that quick if you're a cop, that they're not a cop. They're using the wrong lingo, they're using TV shit, they're doing shit that's not, it just doesn't pass the smell test, and the audio and the behavior does not match what a regular cop would do. So cops can tell a fake cop pretty quick. So in this incident with LAPD and Sheriff, LAPD showed up and said, drop your guns. Sheriff said, no, we ain't dropping our guns. We got these guys we're making arrests. We're the Sheriff's Department. They bashed them. And they go, we don't give a fuck who you are. Drop your gun. And so there was this conflict. And these conflicts happen usually when one agency writes another agency a ticket. If it's California Highway Patrol, every once in a while, they'll write a city guy a ticket. He got off a midnight shift. He's going home. And they'll write him a ticket. Next day, that guy's going to go in and tell all his buddies, these motherfuckers wrote me a ticket. Knew I was a cop, screw him. So now LAPD, or that agency, will go sit outside the CHP freaking parking lot and wait for the chippies to get off and write every one of them a ticket when they leave. And then there becomes a battle of who's going to write the most tickets, and they fight back and forth, and finally the captains get together, call each other, and go, hey, knock it off. You guys are escalating this, leave each other alone. And then it'll kind of level out and go back to normal until one of the agencies write another cop a ticket. So that's some of the fallout when you write another agency a ticket. It's then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you want to write us a ticket? We'll start writing your guys' tickets. How do you like that? And CHP is the worst at this. one of the other reasons I don't like them. They're just horrible about everything that moves on the road belongs to them. Oh, CHP, we own all cars. And so that's their claim to fame is tickets. But I'm not saying they shouldn't write cops tickets. I'm saying you got to use judgment sometime. You know, you got pulling out a midnight shift. He doesn't use a blinker coming out of the parking lot, and you want to write him a ticket. And you ain't written a blinker ticket in freaking 13 years, and now you're writing a cop for not using the blinker pulling out of the parking lot. You know there's more to it than that. But whatever. So that incident got escalated. Both units ended up, Sheriff's Department ended up calling for backup. LAP called for backup. They had sergeants out there. LAPD was refusing to fucking drop their guns. They had a bunch of people come out and go, you drop your fucking guns. And they went back and forth. There was a big deal. It got in the paper. People were upset. People didn't have video cameras. They were videotape shit. But it was a big deal. So they sent out a memo to all agencies. Hey, you guys need to be professional. You're cops. You represent the blah, 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 company line. Don't be drawing on each other. Understand, blah, blah, blah. So, but that shit happens a lot. But that was a major incident. Well, it happened to me one time. I'm down in South Sac. I thought I was in Stockton, but I think it was in South Sac. And I'm chasing some dude, and I don't remember if it was a gangbanger, whatever it was, but I was chasing him over a couple fences. I was in my plain clothes. I had my shirt on. I'm in my car, and somehow I got in a pursuit with this knucklehead, and he footbelled. So I'm chasing him. He jumps over the wall to get to the highway, and he runs out close to the highway. So I end up catching him on the highway, got him down on the ground, got him handcuffed, got him at gunpoint, calling for my guys to come in, and here comes Chippy pulling up. Turns on his lights. Now, granted, he pulls up, sees me with a gun. Yeah, maybe he didn't know. I don't have a problem with him pulling his gun. But he gets out and goes, drop your gun, drop your gun. I go, hey, dude, police officer. I said, I got him. I'm detective. I'm working auto theft or gang unit, whatever. I said, I just arrested this guy. I said, here's my badge. I pulled up my shirt. Had the guy still at gunpoint. I don't give a fuck who you are. Drop your gun. I'm like, dude, I said, I just identified myself. I ain't dropping my fucking gun. This guy's in my custody. I said, I'm an on-duty peace officer. Drop your fucking gun or I'll shoot you. I go, fuck you. I ain't dropping my motherfucking gun and you ain't shooting me. I said, do what you gotta do. I said, he's in my custody. I'm on duty. I said, I've already identified myself. So he's had an attitude. We argue back and forth. Finally, a couple of my units show up. He's got other units coming up. On the way to getting there, when my second unit got here, he had lights and sirens on. He pulled up. He gets out of the car. Hey, he's with us. And he saw the lights and siren. He's getting all, still kind of like, I told him to drop his gun. He goes, hey, man, he's a cop. He's on duty. He's making it right. I don't care. And so the second guy's like, dude, you need to chill out. We ain't dropping our fucking gun. We got this guy on arrest. And the highway patrol's all butthurt because he thought, oh, this is on my highway. How dare you make an arrest without telling me? So he gets all butthurt and so we end up not dropping our guns. He ended up putting his gun away. He comes over wanting our name. He's going to report us. I don't give a report who you want, you big knucklehead. Get out there and go chase a license plate and write somebody for freaking tinted windows and do what you normally do and stop harassing us. We already told you we're cop. We got badges on. I had a web belt on. I had my holster on. My belt was blowing up. I got a guy at gunpoint. I got units showing up with lights on and he's still, drop your gun, CHP. I'm in charge. It's my highway. What a freaking... one of the many reasons I don't like dealing with the highway patrol. They have very lack of judgment. They're all militaristic. All they know is we're in charge. We're the big thugs. We can do what we want. And if you question us, we're the state police and we got more power and authority, even though they don't. They seem to think they do. And so that was the issue. Crazy cop story. That's why I connected to LAPD kind of thing. And again, that type of thing happens a lot when you're working in other agencies. Cops come up. But usually cops have common sense to go, I can tell by the way the guy's holding a gun. He's got a badge around his neck. He's got a web belt on. He's dressed in BDU pants. He's got boots on. He's handling this guy like he's a suspect. He told me he just arrested him for, 10851, which I know is the vehicle code for stolen vehicles. So he obviously knows the vehicle code. I mean, there's clues that a cop with a reasonable 2 brain cells could connect it. And, CHP, oh, my highway, drop your gun. Fuck you, I ain't dropping my gun. All right, I never dropped my gun. How about that? We'll end that there.